Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Daryl, this is Brandon, this is Backyard Gun Bros, and we're going to be talking about something that's pretty cool that I don't think you see a whole lot of out there. This is a Ruger Mini-14 223, and this is a pretty cool gun. Now this is in Brandon's collection. Hopefully someday he'll need like 50 bucks from me and this will end up in my collection, but I'm going to let him take the lead and let him talk about it a little bit with you.
Yeah, so this is a gun that we bought, you were with me. You talked me out of another gun into this gun, actually, if you remember that.
That is correct.
So there's a local gun store, well, it's actually a fleet store, like a farm store. The Fleet Farm, actually. Well, I'll shout them out. They're not sponsored by any means, but we go there quite often now. They have a gun selection there, and they had actually just recently opened when I came and bought this firearm. And that I was actually looking at a Ruger Precision rifle at the time, and they had some deals going on. And instead of doing the Ruger Precision rifle, I actually got this gun for about $200 off.
Yeah, you got a steal on this gun.
So at the time, this gun they had it marked for $800. I bought it for $600 plus tax back, 4 years ago now?
Something like that, yeah.
And man, did I fall in love with this gun. And funnily enough, this is a sidebar story, is my father's never been a huge fan of guns. He looks at them as an asset, not necessarily his forte. He went out with me the day I bought this. I pulled it out of the box, loaded up a magazine. It did come with these little 10-round mags. Loaded up a magazine, took it out, set up a gong at 50 yards, pulled up the sights, didn't have to do any adjustments, hit the gong all 10 shots. And he was impressed by that. It's one of the few guns I've ever been able to pull out of the box, comfortably shoot right away. It's a great gun. Daryl says he would love to steal it from me one of these days, or borrow it. Yeah. Tactically acquire
this firearm for my collection.
Now, the Mini-14 is probably not as rare as you might think. A lot of them have been made since the 70s. Actually, law enforcement used to use these before they picked up the AR-15, before they were able to get them from the military. This was actually not this particular gun, but the Mini-14 was a law enforcement gun at the time. And, it's based off of the M14. Anyway, 7.62.
Sidebar, yeah.
308. This was designed to have that intermediate cartridge that the AR-15 fired in a platform with the same operation system as an M14, i.e. Mini-14. So it's that same gas piston op rod system that you hear. And you hear it there. It's that very solid, heavy clink.
Yeah, it's got that oomph sound to it, like that it means business sound to it. Just to piggyback on your story about the sights, is the first time I got to take this gun out and shoot it. No adjustments at 100 yards, pick this gun up and hit that gong every time. This has got to be one of the most comfortable sight apertures I've ever pulled something out of the box and been able to just nail that target with zero adjustment at all right off the bat. This gun is outstanding. We have other family members that have shot this gun that absolutely adore this firearm. It's such a fun time, and it's got like a little bit of history behind it in the aspect of what it's designed off of. And not a lot of guys have these in their collection, so what's really cool is like when you get to bring this one out, people are like, oh, what the heck is that? And you're like, yeah, just pop a couple rounds, and next thing you know, guys are just in love with this firearm.
Yeah, it's like they look at it and it's like, your M14 looks a little small there. It's like, oh yeah, it fires 223. So, a lot of things I love about the gun. I will talk about some of the things I don't like about the gun, which that might sound like heresy. It's a fun gun. Don't get me wrong. If I could, I'll buy it again. I'll buy another one. I'll get the different stocks for it. This is a gun that I would probably own a couple of if I, so choose, and, they're a little expensive. I think now you can find them at the same store now for almost $1,000.
Yep, they are a little more spendier now.
First one is the mag release. It's down here, and you got to push forward, and you have to rock the magazine in, just like on an M14. The safety is, I guess I won't really complain about the safety. It's down here by the trigger. You flip it forward for fire and flip it back for safe. A lot of other guns have that. I know my SKS has that, but it's a little different for how it operates, but it's not uncommon. and then tear down. It's not very simple. It's not hard, but
it's a process.
It's one of those things I bust out the instructions every once in a while to make sure I'm doing it completely right. It's not something like an AR-15 or a 1911 that you know how it comes apart. Most people, that becomes muscle memory. Maybe if I got good at it, I could probably do it. But it is a little bit more complicated. There's buttons, different places that you have to take. You have to pull certain parts apart. Yeah, it's complicated. But once again, what kind of gun can you pull out of the box and immediately start shooting and having fun with?
I mean, this gun is, it's one of those ones in your collection that when you do get it out, you do kind of like dread, like, oh, yep, gonna have to tear that apart now. But when you get this thing out, it's so worth it. I mean, this thing is just so incredibly accurate with no adjustment needed to it. It's comfortable. And I mean, like, there's a lot of steel here, but this gun is not ridiculously heavy. It's balanced well. It feels good in the hand, and you can just have a great time with it. And I know we've had some younger family members that, wanted to try it and immensely fell in love with it right away. And I will say it, this someday will end up in my gun safe if I have to tactically acquire it from you or not. But I will eventually own one of these just for the simple fact of how great of a gun it is.
Another thing I have to commend it to Ruger. They have great sights on this right out of the box. They also sent me with scope rings. So it's like, hey, are you ready for an optic? It's optic ready. Like, I'm not going to slap a scope on this. There's no need. But if you want to, most of the time, they'll come right with those scope mounts for you. And they even give you instructions on how to mount the scope, like in order to get it up above your sight picture so you could
keep both.
Yeah. So, gun that I would 100% recommend if it's in your price range, right around $900 nowadays. So.
Yep, it is up there, but a very, very fun gun, very highly recommended, but you're going to be spending some cash for it.
Another thing, too, is this isn't an AR mag. These are, and that was something that I had to tell Daryl, is it looks like an AR mag. It's not an AR mag. This will not fit in an AR. It's kind of the same way with the M14 and the AR-10. They did not use the same magazine, even though they fired the same round. This does not use the same mag, so there might be a chance if you are one of those. I have these separated in my safe, the loaded magazines, so that way I don't accidentally grab my mini mags for my AR or my AR mags for my mini. They just do not work. They won't fit, won't operate, and these mags are not cheap from Ruger. They're a little bit pricey. You get, I think they go from $5 all the way up to $40. I've seen drum mags for these too, if you really want that. And one of my complaints about the Ruger mags is this magazine never got wet, but as Daryl can also attest to, there is some pitting to the magazine. So it's one of those things that sometimes the magazine is the shortcoming of the rifle. I'm not going to dock the rifle for that. So.
No, absolutely not. And yeah, we've shot different types of 223 out of this. Currently we got some Fukoshi here, which is a fine round.
Fukoshi is actually what I've ran actually for years out of my AR. I do use Winchester if I find it. It's mainly with 223, it was what you could find when.
That is true.
And Fukoshi's always been a great target round for me.
It is. It's a very good round.
And it's generally one of, if not the cheapest, brass case rounds. I will never fire steel case out of either my AR or the Mini. I think actually the Mini does not recommend steel case from the actual instructions, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I would never suggest running steel case rounds
through something that you like.
Through anything, to be honest with you.
Well, you run it through your high point. That's why I said anything that you like.
Yeah. So, let us know what you think about this, guys. Like I said, it's on the higher price compared to a lot of other firearms that me or you both have in our collections. Let us know what you think about it. If you have some experience with this, we would absolutely love to hear about it down in the comment section, because we're the only people around here that actually have this firearm relatively available to us. So we don't have a lot of people to bounce stories off of what they think about it. So please let us know. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and even hit that little notification bell. That way you can keep seeing our content as it comes out. We let you know what's going on. Check out our shop. Get yourself a hat. Get yourself a t-shirt. All the money goes back and helps out the company or helps out the channel. We really appreciate it. You got anything else to add, Brandon?
The only other link down there that's of note is the Patreon page. If you go in there for as little as $3 a month, you can support us directly. All that, like Daryl said, all that money goes right back into this channel so we can produce more content for you. And then on the higher end of that, if you have the means to donate more, you can actually get discounts on our merchandise. And that sounds like a great deal to me, doesn't it?
Sounds like it's a pretty good deal to me, especially if you want to be sporting all this fine wear. All right. Don't forget, guys, I'm Daryl. This is Brandon. We're Backyard Gun Bros, and we're going to catch you next time.